didn't say shit. Just pulled up in front of an old rickety building that looked like a project. Now, I'd never been there before. I'm not sure if it was a project, but it certainly had all the familiar symptoms of a project. A fucking crackhead ran this way.
If you remember our previous video on what makes a great joke, first of all, congratulations, because that means you have the memory span of more than one TikTok. Second, you'll recall that every joke has 7 magical ingredients. Yes, 7. Comedy is basically Hogwarts with worse robes. Those 7 comedy spices are 1. Setup. The story before the story. The calm before the chaos. The once upon a time. But trust me, it's going downhill. Believability. The audience must think, yeah, this could totally happen, even if it's absolutely unhinged. 3. A target. Someone or something must suffer. A person, an animal, an amoeba that looked at you funny, anything. 4. Hostility. Jokes are not polite. Jokes are bullies with charm. 5. Exaggeration. Turn the dial from reasonable to they need therapy. 6. Twist. The sudden left turn that knocks the laugh out of people like a comedic sucker punch. 7. Character. The energy, attitude, body language, and overall flavor of the human delivering the joke. Your physical self is the seasoning to the joke meat. Now that your comedy brain is warmed up like a microwave burrito, let's break down Dave Chappelle's project joke. If you write Chappelle's joke down on paper and read it silently monotone, in your best impression of a bored librarian, it's not actually the funniest joke in the world. Anyone else trying it would probably get silence so thick you could butter it. So how does Dave make it explode with laughter? Let's apply the 7 sacred comedy ingredients. Setup. A man abandoned in a dangerous part of town, classic I'm gonna die energy. Target. The neighborhood. Basically, the zip code is the villain. Hostility. Dave is clearly very scared of the kind of people who live there. Thus, his hostility towards them is vibrating like a dildo. Exaggeration. The place is so broken down, it should honestly be condemned by a cartoon inspector. Dave makes himself sound like the last surviving civilian in a zombie movie. The twist. Now, here's where it gets meh. The punchline is, a frickin' crackhead ran this way. And, honestly, any normal person would expect that. It's the projects. Crackheads are basically NPCs there. So why does Dave get huge laughs anyway? Simple. Character. The way he says the line, the little sound he makes, it's cartoony, like Looney Tunes with substance abuse. That choppy sound is the real twist. It's so unexpected, the audience's brains short-circuit and release laughter the way a stressed person releases gas. This is why character matters. Character can fix a bad punchline, revive a dying joke, and hold your comedy together like emotional duct tape. Think slapstick. You can combine verbal jokes and physical silliness to bulldoze right through a weak punchline like a comedic juggernaut. Imagine a joke being a person struggling in a wheelchair. It's like saying to them, we can make you better by strapping rocket boosters under your seat. Now, let's challenge ourselves. Let's write our own version of Chappelle's joke, but with a twist that's actually funny even on paper. No Dave Chappelle performance superpowers required. Take your time. Seriously, you're not Usain Bolt. If Usain Bolt were writing jokes, he'd probably pull a hamstring. Do 2 things. 1. Write your attempts in the comments section. 2. Give someone else feedback. Nicely. This is not Brad Pitt's torture club. No shirtless philosophical violence here. Here are my attempts. 1. He pulled in front of this old rickety building that looked like a project. Now, I've never been there before. I'm not sure if it was a project, but it definitely had symptoms. Like, if buildings could sneeze poverty, this one was blasting pollen. And I knew it for sure when this old woman knocked on my window and yelled, "The pigeons are working for the government." 2. He just pulled in front of an old rickety building that looked like a project. Now, I never been there before. I'm not sure if it was a project, but it certainly had all the familiar symptoms of a project. And I knew it for sure. When I peered behind me through the crack in the window, there was a bloke meticulously trying to unlock a shopping cart with a butter knife. 3. My Uber driver pulled up in front of what he says is a nice-looking building, right? I'm not so sure. I'm looking around, trying to find the entrance, and he just gives me this reassuring nod and says, "Don't worry, the neighborhood has a real, vibrant energy." And as if on cue, to perfectly illustrate that vibrant energy, a frickin' crackhead ran this way. In this last example, I've kept the punchline but changed the setting to show you how else we can get past a wall in our comedy. You can carry on the joke to a second punchline. I tell ya, I've seen many crackheads in my time. This guy was carrying an entire shopping trolley under his arm. Joke 2.
Now, this is when I knew I was in a bad neighborhood. You only see this in the worst neighborhoods. Remember, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I look out the window. There was a fucking baby standing on a corner. Look at this. And the baby didn't even look scared. He was just standing there.
The Baby Mafia Don. Same environment, same tension, same 3 a.m. time slot, aka nothing good ever happens right now. Chappelle runs the same setup again. Late at night, scary neighborhood. Reality bending just enough to still feel believable. And then the twist. A gangster baby. A baby. On the street corner. Acting like he pays taxes and runs 3 underground businesses. It's so absurd, so unexpected, it detonates the laughter automatically. If you watch the whole segment, Dave even follows it up with a physical joke about the baby's stare, which is like seasoning your already spicy comedy stew. Your turn. Let's practice. Use the 7 comedy ingredients to write a joke about being stuck in a terrifying neighborhood. Fail gloriously. Fail repeatedly. Comedy is basically falling down stairs until you learn to land in a funny pose. Here are my best attempts. 1. I knew I was in trouble when my GPS said, "You have arrived at your destination," and then whispered, "Good luck." The frickin' SAT NAV should not have a survival mode. 2. Now this is when I knew I was in a bad neighborhood. You only see this in the worst neighborhood. Remember, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and the ice cream truck was still out. Like, what kind of children are craving dairy at 3 o'clock in the morning? 3. This is when I knew I was in a bad neighborhood. You only see this in the worst neighborhood. I get there at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I see a tumbleweed roll by. Even the frickin' plants are evacuating. That's all for today. If you enjoyed the breakdown, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell, clap twice, whisper comedy, whatever the algorithm wants. Or buy my novel. My landlord would appreciate it.